Hello, my name is Caden, and today we're doing the inner tie rods on the Oldsmobile 98 Regency. This one's a 1990 model. You'll notice that this is newer. Well, that's because Advanced Auto screwed me over, and these are already wore out at 1,000 miles. There is play, and it's just this inner one. These outers aren't from Advanced Auto, so they were fine. This guy back here that we're changing, so get started on that. I got the, the wheel off, parking brake applied, jack stands, wheels under the car for additional safety. So first thing I'm going to do is break this jam nut loose. So the whole thing, either or one of these, is going to want to spin with it. So you'll need a backup wrench. Usually I do it on the inner tie rod. They usually have some flat spots on them, and in this case I can get a 1/2-inch wrench to fit on these flat spots, and then I'll just use a regular old one of these, a crescent wrench, unless of course it just breaks free from it being done recently at the alignment shop. But it's yeah. All right, so we've got this free using our double wrench method. Now we'll want to take the cotter pin out. So what we'll do is I'll bend this. I've already got it a little bit loosened, but we'll bend this up with a plier here, kind of straighten it out and pull it out. Of course, if it's all rusted and original, it's not going to come out that easy for you, but these were just recently done. And then this is an 18 millimeter, so we'll go ahead and break that free. Now it's gonna need a couple whacks. All right, so that took a little hammering, but look how loose this is. So if you have a brand new tie rod, it shouldn't just swing around like that. That's super broken and loose and dangerous to drive on. If your alignment's already good, like mine just got done, awesome. You'll want to count the amount of times you spin this off. All right, so we spun the outer end off all the way, spun the jam nut off all the way. Originally there's a little hose clamp here, but this new rubber boot didn't fit, so I have a zip tie here. I want to cut that. The original ones will have the ear style clamp, and you have to chisel a certain particular part of it with the screwdriver. Unfortunately, I do not have those. I could maybe put a picture up on the video. I have zip ties on here because honestly, they actually work pretty well. Yeah, get out of here. All right, I got the ties off. So now the boot is loose, but you don't want to pull it inside out because this will turn inside out, and it actually ends up being really difficult to put back together. Ask me how I know. So there's kind of a little lip here this needs to go over. So what I've got here is I've got a little pick tool that I'm going to use to get up underneath and kind of pry and bring it over, and then pull and twist, see if I got it over enough. Something I forgot to mention, but you'll see it down there. There's a vent tube, and there's one on each side. So the idea is when you turn, one side squishes down, the other side extends. Well, the side that squishes down, if this is sealed, it'll build pressure in here, and so the vent tube allows it to put the pressure on the other boot, so when one side's compressed, one side's stretched, and you get the gist of that. That's essentially the idea behind that. So we'll set that aside, and so there's this plastic collar on the actual inner tie rod itself, this like yellowish beige colored looking thing. You have to actually press this off. You gotta push it back towards the steering rack. You might need to take a small plastic chisel and punch it a couple times around the edge, But be very careful. It is a brittle plastic. You just need a couple soft taps and it'll push back. All right, so we got the plastic collar pushback. So that exposes us to our flat piece. So now we're gonna get our tool. All right, so this guy is my inner tie rod removal tool. Don't always have to have one of these, but I don't have the access to successfully use a crescent wrench. I just don't, because of the way the flat sides face, and from where I am underneath the car, I just went and bought it. And so now I get to use it a second time. So what we have here is a pipe, 2 slots cut in it. See if I can stand it up. And the idea is you put this in here and you lock it. So he has that piece, it'll lock it in place, and this locks around that inner tie rod. And then on the other end, you have a 1/2 inch drive, so you can slide this over the tie rod onto that. But of course, you have to put this piece on first over, back here on whichever side you can get it on. This is the broken piece. So this is our new one. It is a Dorman brand. It was under the premium category in Rock Auto, so I'm gonna trust it. Spin this on. Now I did clean up the end of the rack there, some of the old grease and whatnot. Let me see if I can't. The tie rod is slightly so that's giving me a hard time spinning it on. So, and then leave the jam nut off still, because we got to put the stupid boot back on. Although that stupid boot, despite you being stupid and low intelligence, you do matter and you do serve a purpose. So we got to put you back on. All right, so now we've got that tightened down, we can't forget to put our plastic collar back on, and this will just pull just like that. And now we gotta back to the U again. I'm gonna use a little bit of some of this PB Blaster here, just to get a few drops. I want to lubricate the inside of this boot and our little vent tube hole here, so we can slide it on a little easier. Now, I just want to let you know, I should have warned you earlier, and I'm sorry, but putting this boot over the rack and getting it on is going to be the most difficult part of this whole job. There will be cursing involved. There might possibly be bloody knuckles. But regardless, in the end, we always get it done. So, we're going to get it done. Lots of geese, please. I hope I'm safe from artillery shells. You don't want to put your zip ties on until after you get it over. You just don't. Good God. There's a lot of them. As you can see, this is what we look like. So now all I gotta do is find out where the hell I laid my scissors down at. We got these pulled as tight as we can, and I have it done to both sides. And you can see this vent tube that I'm talking about. And this vent tube will slide back and forth in its bracket there. So it does give you a little bit, make it a little bit easier for you to do that. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time reaching anything. I always think I have this bitch high up off the ground enough, and I never... Ah, piece of shit scissors. Look how good these scissors are. Ah, fun. There we go. Cut them off like that, and I got to do the other side, but I think I can reach it through there. So I just wanted to kind of show y'all what that looks like, because it does become very difficult. Much easier on a 4-point lift. Having it lubricated helped tremendously, so I highly recommend that. Don't forget, we got to put one on this guy too. So if you push this back, you'll see there's a little lip right here. That's about where you want that boot to go over, and that's about right where you want your I'm just gonna gently pull that out. It's about right where you want to tie it off at too. We'll wrap one of these around the end, tie it off just like the one you saw before. So yeah, and then we'll start putting everything back together. All right, so now that those are cut, we got those secured, we'll want to put our jam nut on. Oops. Spin that on quite a ways. We'll get our outer tie rod and spin it on the amount of times you counted earlier. In this case, it was 24 for me, so I'm going to do that and then get it inside my steering knuckle here. Alright, so what I've got is I've got it back together, and it does go back in the knuckle pretty easy as long as you didn't turn this at all. So I'm just putting the castle nut on, and I'm going to tighten it down a little bit until it gets a little tighter, and we pull the... Alright, it's a little tight, and we got this bottomed out, so we'll go ahead and use our double wrench method to tighten our jam nut and tighten our outer tie rod to 35 foot-pounds, and we'll use a new cotter key. Put that in there. Now you may need to turn this slightly more after you torque it to 35. Turn it slightly more until you get one of these openings opened up. Alright, so now we've got everything tightened down, new cotter pin in, wrapped around, and we're ready to put the wheel back on and put this in. And I gotta get my little clips, but of course the wind takes everything away from me. Oh, there they are, they just got pushed over. But yeah, I gotta put some clippies back in. They're pretty easy to do. Put the wheel back on and we will be good to go. Yeah, we won't have any more wobbly wheel now. It's nice and tight. That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a completely different driving experience for the second time. Alright, and there we have it, lowered back on the ground through the construction. Now you'll notice the wheels look kind of funny, the way they're kind of like positive cambered in a way. Don't worry about that too much. The car was suspended in the air for a few hours, so the springs kind of loosened up. We'll go for a drive here and it should straighten itself out pretty good. But got these torqued down to 100 foot-pounds. Back on the ground, my alignment should still be set the way it was. It should still drive straight with the steering wheel straight. So, and these are junk.